All right, guys, we're here with Aaron and Austin from Altcoin Daily here in LA at the beautiful Roosevelt Hotel. We just sat down for like an actual fireside chat, but there was a lot of conversation that we had, and I think it would be very valuable for you guys to know. So guys, tell us, New Year's approaching, 2022. No one really knows if we're a bull market, bear market. What do you guys think about 2022? What are you looking forward to? We head into a bear market, or are you guys bullish?
Well, first off, great to be here. Altcoin Daily, love the collabs. Kyle, thank you for having us. Bullish or bearish? Aaron, why don't you take it?
I don't know. I was talking to my family about crypto on Thanksgiving, and I was prepared to come to them back in Christmas and be like, I told you so. But at this point, I guess we got to wait till Valentine's Day or something. But quite honestly, I'm pretty bullish. Quite honestly, the way I like to think of it is that as opposed to every other cycle, this is the first cycle where people realize, like a lot of people realize, that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are not going away. I kind of feel like every other cycle, it's been like, hey, make sure you're not the last one to sell. Make sure that you realize some profits. And of course, you do want to realize profits, but now people aren't just thinking about it in like 2021, 2022. I feel like they're thinking about it in 2020, the decade. So in that regard, I'm pretty bullish. Plus the fact, listen, it would have been really nice. It would have been really nice if we would have had a blow off top this year and all of us could take a year off, chill, relax. That didn't happen, but I think that's opportunity. The fact that it's going up slowly, and Bitcoin sitting at 50,000-ish, I think that's pretty bullish.
How about you, Kyle?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I think that that the reason that we're all three of us here are quite bullish is probably because we pay attention to the macro events that happen in the space. If you're a chartist, a TA guy, you don't have that big perspective on what's going on. And since your guys' job every single day is to read and share the news, you guys get a lot of that big picture stuff. And so then you're like, if someone says, no, we're definitely bearish, or the crypto's going away, you guys are going to be like, what are you talking about? Because you see all this huge adoption, right? So tell us, or correct me if I'm wrong, you guys aren't TA guys, right?
That's right. We're not TA guys. We don't come from the traditional finance background. We're not coders or devs. We are actually just regular people, just like many people in our audience. And if Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is for everybody, then surely we can figure it out. And honestly, it's pretty advantageous if you just become a huge nerd about it, because the space is just blown up, and I think it's going to continue to blow up. By the way, is this going on YouTube?
Yeah.
All right, guys, make sure you like the video. Let me know if you already subscribed to us, and I want to hear your top 3 altcoin projects for 2022. Kyle, you promised to look at the comments and maybe cover some?
Definitely.
All right, cool.
I like that.
But Austin, did you?
Yeah, let me just give my take. I think one thing that I think is important to understand is, sentiment seems to change super fast. Like if you look at where the Bitcoin price is today compared to maybe a month or two ago, we're down in the short term. Year to date, Bitcoin's up over 66%. Bitcoin in 21 had a great year. Bitcoin from 2-3 years ago, obviously a great year. So it totally depends on your time preference. I have no clue what the Bitcoin price is going to do tomorrow, but I am bullish in the long term because of all the fundamental metrics we're seeing. For example, this is the first cycle where not only corporations, publicly traded companies like a MicroStrategy are actively buying the dip, announcing it, but we also have nation states. El Salvador is starting to buy the dip. And these are people that aren't trying to, get in that quick trade. These are people that are saying, they're telling us, we are holding for the long term. This isn't a year play for us, this is a decade-long play for us, minimum. On top of that, just in the last, I'm talking about the fundamental metrics, what Glassnode shows us, Willy Woo, Will Clemente. Have you seen some of these on-chain metrics recently? Yep. Like Bitcoin on exchanges is at a 3-year low. Bitcoin mining hash rate is at an all-time high, and at the same time, we can see all the wallets from the miners. The miners aren't selling. The people that are selling are these short-term hodlers that have bought Bitcoin in the last 4 to 6 months, and it's those long-term hodlers that are buying their bags. So yes, somebody's selling somewhere, but in the grand scheme of things, more people are hodling longer than ever. So if you just take that long-term mindset, that's how I try and think about this market.
And I just want to say, if it might be hard to realize this if you've only been in crypto for 6 months or a year, I'm sure Kyle can attest to it, he's been in crypto a very long time, that what we've seen in the past year and a half, it's like the US specifically, there used to be a question, are they going to ban it? And, you know, PayPal listed it, you know, funds are buying it. Basically, it's getting regulated, and regulation means they're not going to ban it. Regulation means game on, and just, you know, banks being allowed to custody crypto legally. It was just unclear regulation before, and they're clearing up all this regulation slowly, but surely. It's just like amazing to see how different things are today versus 2 years ago, or even like 2017, where it was just kind of this thing in the fringes. I mean, in 2014, there was one exchange, Mt. Gox, it got hacked and the price crashed. One exchange. By 2017, there were a few more exchanges, but US exchanges, I remember, were turning people away near the top. And then, you know, Binance wasn't even really around at the top of 2017, or maybe they just launched then. I mean, now there are just so many exchanges and places to buy cryptocurrency. It's just like, you know, it's just leagues better, in my opinion. I don't know, Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, not to mention the fact that it's definitely not going away. We see that with politicians and sports and athletes now taking their salaries in Bitcoin. Even the mayor from New York or whatever, right? He's now taking salary in Bitcoin. A lot of the famous athletes are taking salary in Bitcoin. A lot of the politicians from Ukraine and different countries, we're figuring that they have Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as well. So we know now that, like, it's just not going away. That's for sure. That's a huge thing too. That was one of the biggest concerns before. I said, well, what if it doesn't become adopted one day? But we know now that it is. The question that people still don't know is will it become a world reserve currency? And I think that it's just a matter of time before everything is denominated in Bitcoin. I mean, how inconvenient is it to go, I'm not saying that we're going to get rid of the pricing in the US dollars, the pricing in the Swiss francs, the pricing in the euros. I'm just saying that probably when we go to like a grocery store in Europe, you'll see something for €2, and you'll also see it for like 1,000 Satoshis or whatever it is. You'll probably see pricing in both of these things, because it'll be almost so much easier for us to relate to a world currency standard than it will be like these different international kind of currencies. But you know, the point that I think is super important is just that we're too aware of all the big adoption things that are going on for me to think, especially right now, to think that, and also to think that Bitcoin's going in a bear market in 2022. Not to mention, where do you put your money? If you sell your Bitcoin, this is a question I'll ask you guys. If you were to sell your cryptocurrency, what would you do? Would you put it in dollars, gold, diamonds, cars, watches? Like, where do you put your money? Everything's in a bubble, it seems like, and nothing seems to really be as good as a potential return as Bitcoin or crypto.
Yeah, exactly. There's no better, just for long term, in my personal opinion, the safest thing is just to hold it in Bitcoin, and then like obviously like quality crypto assets that are going to be here in a few years. And there's obviously, you have to manage that more thoroughly, but yeah, there's no better place than Bitcoin and crypto.
Let me pose this.
So there is no bear market, by the way, and if there is, clip it and tag us in it. Just kidding.
Well, let me ask you this, because there's always a certain percentage of the audience, and guys, comment down below if you agree, if you disagree, but there's a certain amount of audience that maybe is newer in the space. So I guess my question is going to be like, what would make you bearish? I'm not talking about in 10 years, but in the short term. Nothing is 100%.
Yeah.
What is something that would make you bearish? Like,
Yeah.
please go on.
I think that the one thing that I talk about is like, we're unfortunately not quite uncorrelated from traditional equities markets. We see it quite actually. If you just look at, like, I always reference investing.com and just look quickly at what the markets are looking like on the equity side of things, the NASDAQ and these kind of things, and what the futures indexes are on these things too. And it's pretty closely correlated. If the stock markets are having bad days, we typically have bad days in crypto, and the opposite is typically true. So I think that we'll eventually get uncorrelated, but for now we're still there. And so I think that if we do end up having something that's a rug pull from the government, where they stop printing money, they stop buying equities, it's going to affect all the markets. Everything's just going to implode. It seems that correlated like that. However, we could have that could also be that pivotal moment when people just go, oh no, everything's good, let's just go all into Bitcoin because it's so fun. I mean, it's still, as much as I am a bull on everything, that still seems like we're not quite there yet, where everyone just flees into Bitcoin when everything else is imploding. I don't know. What do you guys think?
For me, I mean, normally I might have said in the past, if the US like straight up just bans transactions, that would scare the market. But at this point, the way they've adopted mining, as you mentioned, the way politicians have been adopting it, I don't see them doing it. They're regulating it. They're not going to ban it. At this point, I would have to say something just having very little to do with crypto, just a world black swan event. Like the pandemic, that was a black swan event. It tanked every single market. Now recently we've had the new O variant, which has barely scared the market. It's not really, doesn't have the same effect as before. So the new black swan would have to be like China waging direct war with the US on US land, or something just so crazy, or an asteroid hitting the Earth. Like something like just crazy black swan like that would obviously scare the market for a while.
And I would echo Kyle, if the traditional markets crash, in my opinion, it ruins the party for everybody in the short term, just because day to day on those short term time frames, everything is correlated. The long term, like we just saw, they're pushing, the US is pushing the debt ceiling higher and higher. Yeah. They're printing more and more money. Like in my mind, people are going to be searching for a hard monetary fixed supply asset. In that long term, and in all this up and down, huge volatility is the price discovery along the way as more and more people get in tune to find that asset. So it can be slowed down 100% for sure, but long term, I think we've all drank the Kool-Aid.
That's 2022 from you. You don't really, unless you're trying to make money on daily trading, this is kind of all the information you need. Buy, hold, do your own research.
Hodl.
Yeah, definitely. And Kyle, thanks for having us on, man. It's an honor. Someday Kyle's going to come on our channel. So
hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.